Hi and welcome. Today we're talking penmanship, what you should know about handwriting and how to improve your handwriting. The show is brought to you today by the Structure Success video training to help you come up with a rough outline for your autobiography, your biography, your memoir or other life story project. And I'll tell you how to sign up for that at the end of the show. But it's terrific if you're following, subscribing and liking the show. And a big welcome if you're new, because Forever Young Autobiographies is the place to learn how to write life stories for family and friends. Penmanship, it's a bit of a dying art in this digital age of screens. We're using screens more and more and writing less and less. And there's something really magical about receiving something handwritten. We don't get many letters in the mail these days. And if we're writing a life story, imagine the power of having something passed down to you. You've got, someone's written this, they've touched that page, they've written that word by word just for you. There's something to be really treasured about a handwritten account. And this actually happened to a friend of mine. She had her grandmother who passed away, and they were going through her grandmother's effects and found her life story written in an exercise book in her top cupboard. It was this handwritten treasure, and it was such a surprise and a wonderful discovery that the family was just really, really overjoyed. And I thought, really must bring this up. Handwriting a life story is something that we can do. You might not want to do a full massive book, but you could definitely do a first draft or even a final draft. So today I'm just going to talk about that magic of handwriting and things that you can do to get started. We need to kick it off though with a little bit exactly what is penmanship. Now this is of course using a pen to write. It could be a document, it could be some literary work. It's also known as the art of handwriting. And handwriting's super because you can do it anywhere. You're free to roam and write. Maybe you want to go down to the beach, or you're going to sit in your garden, or you can even write in bed. There's really that many possibilities when you've only got a pen and paper. And this is great because you're not chained to the desk. You're not having to sit down or be locked into a laptop's memory or how much battery life it's got. So you can really get out there, and that enables you to set yourself free too from distractions. You're not checking your email, you're not surfing the internet, you're not getting notifications from social media popping up. So you're going to get more writing done. That's the aim of the game. There's some other positives though that I wanted to bring up, and that is that it boosts your brain. It's great for your brain. And I did a show last week about how memory works, so it does touch in on this. But the wonderful thing about when you're writing by hand is that you're touching the pen, you're touching the page, and this tactile sensory effect is boosting your creativity, which is terrific. That's exactly what we want. It's also making your mind slow down because you can't write as fast as you could type or you could talk. So you're slowing down, you're relaxing, and that's going to increase the flow of thoughts. And that is again going to spell out slower writing, a slower pace, but you'll have more time to think about what you're about to write. And therefore there'll be less rewriting and hopefully less editing. And again, you're going to hopefully get more writing done. So some wonderful positive benefits to handwriting a life story account. If you're going to do this, if you are going to handwrite a life story, probably best to have a little bit of planning before you jump in. And of course you're going to need some tools, pen and paper, no doubt. But with a pen, you want to choose something that's not too heavy, so it's not going to strain your hand, and it's going to be nice and free flowing. I would probably pick one colour pen so it's consistent throughout, especially if you're doing a final draft, but you can get creative. Don't rule it out if that's your thing. Also, you probably would maybe stick to pencil if you're doing a draft. That way you can rub it out and continue on or rewrite. When it comes to paper, there's the loose leaf paper option, like a loose leaf, and that's great if you're writing individual scenes or stories and they're not chronological, or you want to put them in another order later down the track. That's so good, you can slot them in and rearrange them. So loose leaf paper is one idea. Otherwise, you can go for a notebook. A little notebook is just fantastic to have them all around the house, so that when an idea or a memory comes up, you can write some quick notes. So it will trigger your memory when you sit down to compile it into a proper story. So have those everywhere, but little is good for that. Handwriting, wonderful. Then you might go to your larger format when you're doing your drafts or your final draft. Have something a bit bigger to make it easier for your reader, and they're not flicking through a little notebook. I would suggest also for your reader that, and for your own writing's sake, is to have something with lines on it. It's going to make it really clear and easy to follow. When you are writing in a notebook, consider from the get-go whether you want maybe a couple of notebooks. How much are you going to write? It's good to get those so that maybe when they're on a bookshelf, they're all the same type, maybe the same colour, and they're going to look really neat. Of course, how many notebooks you need is probably going to depend on the size of the notebook and how much you're going to write. But think about that before you start this, especially if it's a final draft. You can get really expensive, really high-end notebooks, or you can get something just as effective, maybe just an exercise book from your news agency. You might need just a couple of those, and that's going to do the job just as well. So don't get too hung up on what type of books, unless it's really your thing. Most importantly is that you just get your story down. And to finish out, I wanted to just give you some pointers about handwriting. How can we improve, or how can we start out? Of course, like any new skill, or it's going to take some practice, you're going to get better the more and more that you do. You're going to want to get a pen, and you're not going to want to press too hard on the page, because that will strain and it will be harder for you. And you're not going to want to hold the pen tightly again, it's going to strain. And you're just going to start out and try and do nice loose lettering. Again, it's up to you, the style you pick. You might want to print, or you might want to do hand, like running writing or cursive. This is up to you and your style, and also what's going to be easier for your reader, for your audience. So have that clear on the pencil or pen side of things. Then when you're actually doing the writing, you've got your page, and you're going to be moving that page up on as you write down. So you're not going to, you're always sort of going to be in that same posture. So move the page, don't move your body, and you're going to be more consistent with your handwriting. And finally, start out slowly when you're learning handwriting. And over a period of days, over a period of weeks, you're going to be able to naturally increase your speed. So just think about that. We're in training. We will gradually get faster. So there's some ideas about how to come up with beautiful handwriting, how to make your handwriting neater. And to recap, we talked about exactly what is penmanship, its benefits, how it's good for our brains, considerations when we're picking our pens and our notebooks or our paper, and then some tips on how to really improve or how to get started. My aim with this show is that you discover the magic of handwriting. It really is a skill that should be treasured. And look, I think it's just wonderful if we can write that down, because so much of our character comes through the handwriting, and I think that would be a wonderful thing to pass on through a life story. Now, if you'd like to know more, this show is just a small section of an article I've written over at my website, which is foreveryoungautobiographies.com/penmanship. Head over there, I go into more detail, and I've got some links. There's some free video tutorials I found online, and also a really good resource, a book that you can buy if you're really getting into this and you want some more information. I give more details over there. And while you're listening to me now, are you thinking, oh, this might be something I'm going to try? Leave me a comment. Is yes or no? Are you going to give this a go? Because I think it would be something really different, something that is really going to be unique if you do handwrite your own life story. Earlier, I talked about the Structure Success video training. And look, this would be great before you start handwriting anything, your draft or your final copy. Get the memories that you want to include down straight. Get them clear in your mind with this training. It's free. I go through exercise. We come up with events and memories that should go in your life story. All you need to do is put in your email and I'll send it to you, send you the link, and you can get that at foreveryoungautobiographies.com/structure success sign up. Thanks for being with me today. I will be back again really soon with another topic. Again, terrific if you're following, subscribing and liking the show. Share with a friend and also look me up on Facebook. I share lots over there each week. So until then, everybody, have a great week and I will catch you soon with more happy writing.